Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You're going to be listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. So pleased to have in the studio with us our friends from Fundamental Health. We got Mychal Edelman, the CEO. How you doing there, Mike?
I'm doing great. I'm glad to be here with you today to share a little bit about our story.
I can't wait to it. And of course, Fundamental Health has been featured on our Spotlight show a bunch of times. Wyatt, the founder and CEO, and he's still involved as a chairperson of the board, joined by my co-host, Kristen Fogel. She's the executive director of San Diego Writers, Inc. in her third year co-hosting Spotlight show, which I'm forever grateful. And my friend and colleague, author, Jamie Moraga, is going to sit in and she'll have a few questions for Mychal as well on this. So, Kristen, fire away.
Yeah, let's talk about what Fundamental Health is.
Yes, it's a nonprofit here based in San Diego out of Encinitas. And we're in our third year now of existence, which might seem like a long time, but I still look at ourselves as a bit of an infant organization. And that is kind of what you need in our space, naivety to go after something big and grand. And our idea is to make mental health care very accessible, not only in San Diego County, but we have a much bigger vision nationally as well.
You know, when Wyatt first came on the show, and we were just so thrilled to talk to him about it, and anybody who, unless you're living in a different solar system, we've never seen a mental health crisis, certainly in our city, state, country, world, whatever, than it is right now. I'm preaching to the congregation, obviously, on this aspect of it. But for those who, don't have that, don't realize it, it's like food insecurity. When you know there's 800,000 people in San Diego that go hungry every day, 800,000. Mental health is just off the charts. Talk about why that is. Why is it growing? Is it stabilizing? And then, of course, the importance of, one, we know it's an issue, but it's even more frustrating when people don't have access to it. Talk about that.
Well, I think our mission is focused around what unfortunately seems like mental health care is a financial privilege. And what we look to do is to make it a fundamental right? That's the name, Fundamental Health. Fundamental health care is what we're trying to make mental health care, right? And for us, it's overwhelming, to your point, to think about the need when it comes to clinical care, therapy. I could list all the different forms of care that exist out there, but we really come with a mindset right now of every starfish matters. And if you know that parable, there's two people walking down a beach, it's low tide, there's thousands of starfish that need to get back in the ocean. One of the people walking picks up one starfish, throws it in the ocean, and the other friend turns to him and says, "Why did you do that? It doesn't matter. There's so many." And the gentleman who threw the starfish says, "It mattered to him."
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the mindset that we're going into serving. We've served in our first 3 years on average about 25 people to term when it comes to the care that they needed to get out of whatever rut it is. And of course, I want that number to be 250 or 2,500 people. And as we'll discuss later, we have some ideas on how to scale, but we're really proud of serving the people that we serve and doing it at a level of care where you're not getting lost in the system. It can be confusing to find the care that you need, especially if you're going through something and you're raising your hand and saying you need help. There's only a small percentage of people who get to that point who actually have the awareness to reach out for help. So that's something that we're trying to do. We're trying to be a lighthouse, a welcoming lighthouse for people to find us, ask questions, and connect with our team. And we pride ourselves in being human in the way that we approach inquiries. If you call us and leave a voicemail, you'll hear back from us within a day, guaranteed. That's something we pride ourselves on. And also via email. There's no emails that go unresponded to, which is actually a rarity these days in healthcare. So it's something we pride ourselves on.
Yeah, Kristen?
Yeah. So obviously I'm all in. Can you take us back to what the impetus was for this, kind of the story behind all of this?
Definitely, yes. So our founder, Wyatt, who was on the show previously, he is actually a good childhood friend of mine. And his story is actually one of the main reasons why I'm here sitting in front of you today as CEO of Fundamental Health. Wyatt is somebody who, from the outside, really had the world in the palm of his hands as a young man going to Cal Berkeley. Tall, athletic, smart, handsome. And if you were on the outside looking at him while he was in college, you would say, oh, everything, this is the guy. He is him. But it was actually the worst years of his life while he was in college. And he was able to get the help that he needed in a moment of true darkness. And coming out the other side of that, Wyatt looked back and said, if I didn't have the financial resources I have, I might not be here today. Not might. He used the word, I would not be here today. And as a close friend of him, his story was extremely impactful to me. I have my own mental health journey, and my family has a strong connection to a mental health issue as well. But Wyatt's story is the trigger point to why Fundamental Health exists. And it's all about making that access that Wyatt had accessible for people who maybe don't have the financial resources on their own.
Yeah, Wyatt shared that story. When he first came on, as you know, you probably heard the episode. Hopefully you did. He did such an amazing job, and the courage it takes to share that story. He did, but he looks like he brushes it off and says, "No, how can I be a CEO and a founder of this and not share that story?" Because there's a lot of people out there that have this story and know that it's okay. But that's what we're going to do. We're going to go find these folks, and we're going to say there is ways to help out. And I can't even begin to imagine when you're in that space and how do I get help for this? I mean, okay, I can go here, but I don't have access to that. That's just got to be absolutely just exasperate the situation, is it not?
Yes, I feel like, as I mentioned, like somebody trying to, and especially in the state of California, sadly, I know we're a state that's looked at as we care, we want to, from a perception standpoint, we care, but it actually causes a lot of confusion for somebody potentially to go enter the space, and especially if it's the first time that they're trying to build a relationship with somebody who would, for example, give them therapy. There's just so many options, and there's a lot of noise coming at you. So yeah, our job and our care team, I have to give a shout out to our clinical team because we have an amazing 5-person staff who knows what's going on in California, in San Diego. And I think that's one of the real benefits of working with us is you don't have to sort through that noise. You can work with our care team. They're going to wrap their arms around you. I like to say, as a close friend or a family member, they're going to intake you and understand what the root cause is. That's another issue we deal with at Fundamental Health. Somebody will self-diagnose when they come to us and say, hey, I need this. And our clinical team really listens between the lines. And they might think it's this, but it might be another problem that's rooted, which is causing a symptom, which they're referring to. So we're really cautious on the intake process. It's a large part of what we do because we want to make sure that we're matching with one of our amazing providers that is going to actually fix the problem, right?
Right, exactly. We're chatting with Mychal Edelman. He's the CEO of Fundamental Health. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight. On the Community Show, we are the nation's longest-running community podcast in our 19th year, brought to you by the phenomenal folks at Mission Fed Credit Union, 60-plus years of working with us to help with food insecurity or art or financial literacy, everything in between, joined by my co-host, Kristen Fogel. She's the executive director of San Diego Writers Inc. Also sitting in on the interview is Jamie Moraga, CEO of Franklin Revere, and the a recent author. She'll be releasing this book, but I'm not going to tell you the name of the book. You're going to have to go to an event on October the 21st at USD to find out. Jamie, do you have any questions at all?
Yes, I applaud your mission. I just think it's so desperately needed. And I also appreciate your founder as well as yourself talking about your personal stories, because I feel like you normalize this so much, and that people can identify and then go, okay, if these people at this high level can do this, then I can also admit to myself that I may have some issues and get help, which is so desperately needed. I guess my question is more on the CEO side. So you have a founder who started this business, and you've come in as the CEO. And so how do you honor the legacy of why it started, but then also put the stamp on it for you and your legacy as the CEO?
Yeah, I think it's a great happenstance that you happen to be on the show today sitting next to me. I am a newer CEO. I have a lot of background in leadership, and I actually come from the software as a service world. I worked for a company for a long time based in Arizona called Keep. And what I did there was help build an education team. And so we were helping small businesses grow with our software. You're probably connecting the dots here. Wyatt needed help when it comes to CRM management, talking to our donor base, and kind of building a plan when it comes to marketing and telling the story of fundamental health. And so that was my original connection to Wyatt. Is I was looking at what he was doing, and I was like, hey, some things are a little bit, you have the story, but you're just not telling it the way that you want to. So I was originally brought on as a marketing director. And as things evolved and I got more connected to the team, it just made sense for me to step more into a leadership role. And I'm learning every day about people, how to lead. And I try and do that by example and show up the way that I would want a leader to show up. But it is an exciting journey. And it's also in the nonprofit world, there are differences. But I've noticed a lot of my skills are transferable from the for-profit world. So that's been exciting to kind of use that experience and connection to build our nonprofit, kind of in the way that I've helped thousands of small businesses build their businesses to grow. That startup-y mindset, I think, is really important in the stage that we're in. So I think that's another reason why Wyatt tapped me. Yeah,
when we come back from break, Mychal, we'll talk a little bit more about what your secret sauce is, what differentiates you guys, how do we get to scale it? You mentioned you wanted to go from, maybe 25 to 250 to 2,500 to the whole world on this aspect of it. God knows that we need it. When we return with Mychal Edelman, CEO of Fundamental Health. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and we are just so thrilled to have Mission Fed coming ahead for many, many, many years, 6 decades of doing great things in San Diego County, and the sponsor of our Spotlight show. And we will be right back after this short message.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, The unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. We are chatting with Mychal Edelman. He is the CEO of Fundamental Health, joined by two co-hosts. My regular co-host is back in the saddle, Kristen Fogel, in our third year doing it, and I'm forever grateful of her great questions that she asked. She's the executive director of San Diego Writers Inc., and just happened to snatch over my friend Jamie Moraga, CEO of Franklin Revere, and author of Revered, The Power of Female Leadership. So before we turn it over to Kristen, I know she has a bunch of questions for you. Mychal, talk a little bit about what your secret sauce is. What differentiates you?
Yeah. So as I mentioned before the break, I love storytelling. I think if you look at our website, fundamental.health, and our Instagram and our social posts, you'll kind of see that we focus a lot on the design, branding, and storytelling elements that we have. I'm actually really excited for an end-of-year campaign. I'll give you a little behind the scenes that we're going to do.
Please.
Where we're actually building out visual profiles of personas of the type of participants that we host in our programs. And we're going to use that to go and communicate and build relationship with our donor base, our participants, and also potentially providers who want to serve these type of people in our network. We're at a huge growth stage right now in all elements. We want to add more participants. We want to add more donors and supporters to our base, and we want to have provider interest as well to build relationships so that we can serve in more areas across San Diego County. And one of the big things that just happened for us is we actually just signed a contract with Medi-Cal. So
Congratulations.
This is a huge step for a nonprofit like us. It's been about an 11-month process. I have no more hair left on my head from that. But now that that's signed, it is up to us to go and find the participants that we can serve. And that is kind of the answer to our scale question. Of course, we love being able to serve through the donations we receive. And trust me, we need those donations and donors. So if you're listening to this and you're interested in mental health care in San Diego, please check us out. And you can be a supporter, not just when it comes to your dollars, but checking out the events we have and just caring about mental health care in San Diego is a huge part of what we do. But the state of California is here now to support fundamental health, and we'll be able to use that path to serve more. Hopefully the revenues from that will allow us to actually go and serve more on the donation side as well. And that's why our nonprofit, I have a lot of hope for that scale that we talked about, is if we can serve more on the Medi-Cal side, we call that program our Bridge to Care program. We can take those revenues and then add to the donation, 100% donation side more and more. So hopefully we can get towards that 250 number in the near future.
Yeah, that'd be great. Kristen?
Yeah. I'm curious, in this mission is, I think about mental health care and how much time it takes to get to be able to see someone. How does that play out in fundamental health?
It does take a lot of time. And I think I can even bring it up a higher level because time and dollars are very connected.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think you'll ever hear someone on our team say caring for someone is cheap or fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You'll never hear us say cheap or fast. And we'll actually, something that we preach is mental health care takes time and money. And I think that that's centered around our care, the care that we give. The time element of it does vary based on participants. So I couldn't say for any given participant, this is how many sessions. We need to cut it off exactly at 6 sessions for them to graduate.
I think what I'm saying more is I've seen a trend with someone identifies a problem and then it takes them 8 months to get into a provider. So how does that play out? I know you have the 25 now, but is access to care a little bit quicker? Is that part of the plan?
Yes. Sorry, I misunderstood your question.
No worries.
Yes, when it comes to time of raising our hand to getting into your to your first session, we take that very seriously at Fundamental Health. Our providers right now, I can't speak for a year from now when we have more, but there's plenty of space for us to connect those that need help to the providers that we have relationships right now. So I think the bigger issue is actually finding the people to raise their hands. And our clinical team right now, with thankfully the evolution of AI, and we actually have relationships with Rady's Children's Hospital from a referral standpoint. It will help people who maybe aren't thinking about raising their hands, push them in the direction to do so. But that wouldn't necessarily, the time to first session after they raise their hand isn't necessarily a bottleneck for us right now, which is an amazing,
that's great.
Which is an amazing
that's not
thing.
the case elsewhere. So I'm sure once the millions of people hear about it, there will be people.
It will be a bottleneck.
But I want to bring up something, and it certainly you can add to it, Jamie and Christine Robson. What if these people don't raise their hands? It's something that we run into quite a bit, as Kristen knows, when we have Jose Cruz on. Jose is going to be moderating this Great Cloud Talks event with Jamie on the 21st. He's from the CEO of the San Diego Council on Literacy. If we don't know that you need help with literacy, we can't help you. And we know there's some people that's a tough nut to raise your hand and say, I'm illiterate. I don't have to tell you this. It's the same thing. I'm hoping I'm alive when admitting you got some mental health issues aren't a thing. And it's not a stigma. Maybe I'm a Pollyanna. No one's accused Drew of being a Pollyanna in the history of Drew's life. But I think we're making steps in that direction. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, Mychal.
And I think what you just said is people always ask me, like, what is our mission? Our mission is to help fund people get the services that they need on the mental health side. But as I've been involved as marketing director and now CEO, I actually think there's kind of this side mission. If you're a gamer, we have a side quest here.
Right.
And that's just to talk about mental health in San Diego County, show up on shows like this, show up at different people's events, and have not only people like myself, but Wyatt share his story in an ongoing, welcoming way, where it's like, it as you mentioned, Jamie, it really does open the door for people to kind of tap into themselves and then have the awareness to raise their hands. So, if you build it, they will come. That's not really our space. We need to build it, and then we need to go grab people's hands and help them raise their hand as well, to get them into that first session. And we understand our role in that. Now, you can't force somebody to do that, right? You have to push the right buttons and use the right language and invite them to show themselves a bit when it comes to the need.
Absolutely. Jamie?
Yeah, I think just going back, it's the relatability and the vulnerability. And I think the storytelling that you are so good at, and then Wyatt as well, and then showcasing all the different stories. Maybe there are some more people who are comfortable that have gone through your program that can share their stories, because I feel like seeing is believing. I mean, it's the same thing with my female CEO journey. It's like, if you can see somebody who's done the same thing and you can relate to them, it may cause you to want to raise your hand and want to reach out to you. But I'm with Drew. I just really hope that we can, and there's no stigmas and people feel comfortable sharing their stories and realizing when they may need help or guidance.
Well, I think too, it goes back to your book as well, just showcasing CEOs and saying, no, actually, this is really, really hard and people struggle with all of this. So I think if we all kind of collectively raise hands and be like, there's a lot going on that you don't see here.
Yes.
Then we can fulfill your message, your mission as well.
Yes.
Absolutely. And as a CEO of a nonprofit, I can tell you I have rough days.
Yeah.
I sometimes am in the weeds of a marketing campaign, and I ask myself, like, wait, what am I doing right now? Like, isn't the point to be serving as many people as possible? And you sometimes aren't feeling wins daily. And sometimes the bank account gets a little bit low when you're trying to serve, and you have to go figure out the next thing. And Wyatt and I have Wyatt is a huge supporter, obviously, of our cause, but being able to turn to him and say, like, what's our next step? We kind of have this saying together. It's like, let's just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just keep going. And as long as you keep going, the cause, the story, the mission will survive. And yeah, we're excited to see how long how far we can take this story.
Well, we think you're going to take it a long way, and you're always welcome on this show. I think I mentioned to Wyatt, mental health, as Krista knows, we have a lot of folks on that we cannot talk about it enough. We can't shine a light on it enough, and you can't say it once and we'll see you next year. So no, we're offering you to come on a minimum of once a quarter, if not more. I don't want to break any HIPAA laws, but we do have people sometimes that have overcome, some challenges in life and are free to tell their story. I'm not saying you have to bring in someone that does that, but some people love to do that, whether it's mental health, whether it's alcohol abuse, whether it's something else. And they feel very strongly because if I can do it, there's a whole group of other people can do it as well. Yeah. We got about a minute or so to go. Mychal, what can our listeners do to support your efforts?
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll be around in San Diego at different events this year. If you want to directly support us, you can follow us on Instagram. It's fundamental_health, or visit our website, fundamental.health. It's just the name of our company with a dot in the middle. You can donate there. But again, right now we're just looking for you, if you're a supporter out there listening to this, to care about our cause, to care about somebody in your family who might be going through something tough, to encourage them to reach out to us or another organization. It all starts with a conversation, and we want to be that lighthouse to these types of conversations, like I mentioned.
Well, I really appreciate it. Mychal Edelman, CEO of Fundamental Health. This will not be the last time you'll be on the show. Kristen Fogel, as always, thank you for your insights. Kristen has been a third year now in hosting our Spotlight on the Community Show, and she is the Executive Director of San Diego Writers, Inc. And Jamie, thank you for letting us hijack your time today. Jamie Moraga, CEO of Franklin Revere and the author of Revered, The Power of Female Leadership. Want to encourage people to come to Cloud Talks on October the 21st, 3:30 USD. Can hear Jamie chat with our good friend Jose Cruz from the Council on Literacy. She'll actually sign some of the books. And to our audience, we hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.